And we're down here at the Sport Aircraft Expo in Mount Vernon, Illinois, and this is quite a show that they're putting on here.
For a first-year event, they're doing very well. In fact, not even for a first-year event. They're just plain doing real well here. A great team led by their airport manager, Chris Collins, who's a young fellow with lots of energy, and they're doing great here, I think.
We must have, I think, 40 or 45 airplanes here from different manufacturers.
Yeah, I think, there's always a few doing demo, which, of course, is one of the goals of these things. But if you counted them all up, it'd probably be pretty close to 50. So it's a very credible turnout. Lots of nice equipment here for people to see, and quite a few people that have come in to see it.
And this is a very unique airplane. I think, what do you call a shoulder wing?
This is a shoulder wing, and here's where the name is. There's my shoulder, there's the wing. And it's a really cool construction, Dave, because as I look down here on either side, I am sighting right down the leading edges of the wing here. But I can do that, and I can see the tips because they're actually swept forward a little bit, which is a nice construction idea that doesn't put a wing right overhead or right in your way, and gives you terrific visibility, even with the wings right at your shoulder position.
What's this airplane called?
This is called the Super II. It's from OPUS, and this originally was a British design. In fact, that's where I first flew it, but now it's an all-American design made in the USA, as you can tell right by the flag on the side of the fuselage.
Now, what type of control system do they use in it?
Well, it's a conventional control, or it looks like conventional control. It's a joystick, and you've got a joystick on both sides, but notice here, these are moving together. It's actually a Y-link that comes in under the center console here, so that you're really operating everything through the center console, but it gives you the impression of having a completely separate joystick on each side. I kind of like that. It's a little different than we normally see.
And how do you steer the airplane on the ground?
The steering is all by rudder pedals on both sides. You've got steerable nose wheel. It uses what's called a reverse trailing link mechanism on the nose wheel. Braking is done by a handbrake right here in the center, which just pulls, and then you also can turn it a little bit. It's about a quarter turn here or so, or an eighth turn, and that locks the parking or the brake, so you've got a parking brake feature to the airplane as well.
And where's the throttle located?
The throttle is located right here between, very easily accessed by both pilots. In fact, you've got a bunch of controls, and you noticed here with my arm reach that everything is in a nice range for you to get at. So you've got throttle in the center, parking brake and braking are right above that. The trim is on this knob that slides up and down here, and it's clearly marked here so that you can see which way you're going. You've got a choke down here in the center, and back here you've got a nice beefy handle with a button on the front. This is your flap. In the conventional way, with a detent on the front, and easily reached and a nice grip to it, it feels like too. So you're going to feel real solid when you put the flaps on this airplane.
And this is an instrument panel that I'd be comfortable with. There's a lot of analog stuff there.
Yeah, for a lot of folks, analog is still the way to go. So here's your conventional six-pack right here that any instrument pilot trained before the last 10 years is highly familiar with. But if you want the glass stuff, OPUS is able to put in the Dynon instrument right here. Over here for your GPS, the 196 is what comes standard. We'll talk about the price of this airplane in a minute, but you can upgrade to the 496 and add some other features to it if you like. In fact, one of the ones we see in here, normally a cloth finish, but they offer a leather option as well. And that must be what I'm feeling here today. It feels nice and soft. So.
And it looks like there's a little storage area behind the seats as well, Dan?
You got kind of a variety of little storages in this airplane. One of them is right here. We won't pull the seat apart, but you can see there's a pin right here. So you've got some storage aft of you. Now you're not going to get at that in flight, at least with two people on board. And there's another place that you're not going to get at, but it's kind of neat too. Let me pull the seat up here a little bit. And there's a pin right over here, if you can get your camera in there far enough, that you pull this pin out, and then you can move this seat bottom out of the way, and you can store some stuff underneath the seat. In addition to that, you've got map pockets, and they are on both sides here. Your camera can't see this one, but they're on both sides, so plenty of places to put the things that you want in flight, and some places to put things that you can have when you get to your destination. The entry to the airplane, it looks like it might be a little bit of an exercise to get in there, but in fact you've got a very nice step here and a very sturdy grip up here, and then you can just stand on the floor when you get inside because there's nothing above your head here. So entry is actually easier than it might look and should accommodate most folks real well.
What kind of power do they use for this one now?
Well, they are exploring some other options right now, we're told, but this one uses the Rotax 912 80 horsepower. And that's part of keeping the price of this airplane down. It's got a very good price on it, below $100,000. These things change over time, but it's a number that most people will find pretty agreeable. Definitely in the mid to low range of the special light sport aircraft available.
And it looks like you've got some access panels on the top there as well?
You do. In addition to the usual cowl removal opportunities, you've got an oil check here that's very nicely done for checking the engine oil before every flight. And then with some smaller openings here, you can get at the radiator of this engine, which of course uses a liquid cooling. So you can check that quantity and add to it as necessary pretty easily without having to do anything else. Well, you should see about, stall, first of all, is about 45 knots clean, and 75% power cruising. You'll see close to 100 knots in this airplane, so it's not the fastest airplane in the fleet, but it's a very respectable number, and does so with good fuel economy, too, then.
And is it on the light sport list on it?
Yes, this is a special light sport aircraft, fully certified under the ASTM rules, but the same design in a slightly different iteration has also gone through the European VLA program. So this is a pretty well-proven airplane, and it's been around a few years. This is not some new, untested job.
And if we want to get more information on that, where would we go?
Well, then you would go to the opusaircraft.com. That's OPUS aircraft.com, and these folks are located in North Carolina, part of the Made in the USA attribute.
And do you have a flight report on this one?
I have flown this airplane with the Rotax 914 in it, which they had at that time in England, and that's available on my website at bydanjohnson.com or bydanjohnson.com.